Hockey is such a complicated game. So many tiny little differences, so many moving parts. There's so much to it. And yet sometimes it's just simple. Colorado just didn't play well enough in this one. Avs lose to the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-2.
Colorado has won the Stanley Cup.
There's no secret sauce here. The Stars particularly got the better of the Avs. I don't think you got enough out of MacKinnon and Rantanen tonight, and that happens. They've been on a torrid pace where both of them have been hard carrying the Avs across this stretch for a while. Bad games are bound to happen, and you would like a better team effort all the way around. You could use more from a lot of guys. They didn't get that, and they lost the game. Losses suck. But keep in mind, the Avs just won 6 games in a row. Since January 1st, they're 22-10-3. They've just been playing pretty good hockey, if not really good hockey, for most of these stretches. There are some downturns, there's some losing streaks in there, and that's what the Avs have to prevent here. They've at times struggled to get back out after a loss, but if this is a one loss and they go out and beat Arizona in their next game, it's just not that big a deal. With all that being said, you did want to see better execution tonight. I think in the first period is when the Avs were closest to really competing and pushing themselves into a winning position in this game. A pretty even period overall. The Avs generated good chances for themselves. They just didn't finish them. It's really hard to win games when puck no-go net. So it looked like a competitive game, even if the Avs weren't playing their best, and then you get into the second period, and the Avs admittedly fall apart in a lot of ways. It starts with getting Crosby'd. Pittsburgh collecting and getting out of their own zone here. Not a special play, they just throw it out the neutral zone, control it, and get it to Sidney Crosby. It's a 2-on-2 situation. If this wasn't one of the most talented players in the world, it's really not that dangerous. But Sam Girard just gets absolutely dumpstered by Crosby, and Crosby on the backhand is one of the scariest things you can see in the NHL. What a shot. Look, you obviously want better defense there from Girard, but I think we have to treat Crosby with the same respect that we treat MacKinnon. When we watch MacKinnon just dunk on fools, we give MacKinnon that credit because he is that good. And Crosby is absolutely also that good. One of the best players to ever suit up. Sometimes he's going to dunk on you. So you can move on from that one. It's the second one where the Avs dig their own grave. A penalty from Curtis McDermott puts Pittsburgh on the power play. You get through not quite half of that, and Andrew Cogliano takes another one. I don't think the refs did a good job in this game. I'm not 100% sure that they should have called that penalty. But that doesn't matter. It's what got called. Cogliano has to know better than draping himself on Crosby. Crosby gets those calls. He just does. It's fine. You can't put yourself in that situation, but the Avs do. They give him a 5-on-3, and they, of course, convert. It often feels inevitable. On the 5-on-3, on this one, the initial attempt from Pittsburgh isn't actually all that effective. Defended well by Colorado. Compher even gets a solid chunk of this puck in midair, just not quite enough to clear it out of the zone. A bit unfortunate for Colorado there, but then Pittsburgh takes control of the play. Malkin finds a little bit of space, throws it towards the net, looking for the tip from Gensel. Gensel might get a bit of this one, but he doesn't get a ton of it. It bounces off Georgiev into midair, and where Compher's whack in midair didn't work out, Gensel's does. It's just so difficult in this league to come back on teams. Even a team like Pittsburgh, who has blown a ton of leads when leading after 2 periods, is 22-9. That's really bad. 9 blown leads after the second period, but they still dominate. 22 wins to 9 losses in that situation. It just does not happen that often. Technically, they're 22-5-4, but it's 9 losses, whatever. I do want to credit the Avs, though. They did not quit on this game. They kept pushing. They kept trying to get back in it, even if they weren't playing their best hockey. And this hodgepodge second line that they've constructed, while it did struggle at times tonight, is the line to come through and get the Avs on the board. Avs getting up the ice here, they do not maintain possession of this puck, although Compher does get the blue line. It's just a throw-in, dump-in play that really should not go the Avs' way. They should be out of the zone for Pittsburgh pretty handily, but good pressure by Alex Newhook forces a mistake, allows that puck to come loose. The extra pressure from Nichushkin, the Avs' good forecheck on display. It's something to take as a positive from this game. Creates this. Nichushkin, I don't think, is trying to make this pass on purpose, but it's a great read by Compher to see the open ice, win the race to it, and then win the battle for the puck to finish this play. This is the JT Compher the Avs need this season. He's been that guy for a lot of the year. Still has a good chance to get to 50 points on the year, but what matters is that he needs to keep doing this when the playoffs hit. The Avs need him. It's just that simple. Unfortunately, what was supposed to be the start of the Avs coming back in this game gets put to a halt quickly as they take another penalty. This time it's Logan O'Connor, and Pittsburgh once again converts. Just too many power plays for Pittsburgh here, even if you didn't like the calls. It's unfortunate. This puck kicks around in the deep parts of the zone, Pittsburgh doing a good job working it in deep, but then this puck eventually gets knocked loose, and it comes right to Bo. Bo has his stick right there. He just doesn't quite play it effectively. That allows it to slip through. With Nieto committing to the near side, there's no one covering the back door. That puck gets through, and it's easy. Cross seam pass, cross ice pass, cross crease pass, whatever you want to call it. We're just delaying the inevitable as that puck goes in. I'm not going to overthink this one. The Avs penalty kill has been really, really good for a really long time. One bad game, you can write that off. The Avs end up down 3-1 after the second period. They get a late power play that crosses over that they're not able to do anything with. And you know what? I don't really think the Avs ever properly got back into this game. They do make it a one-goal game about halfway through the period. They convert on a power play, which is nice to see. A very, very weird setup for the Avs here. You have MacKinnon on his normal half wall, but you have Mikko down low on the same half wall side as MacKinnon. You have JT Compher as the forward out high, and Devon Toews as the defenseman working into that other half wall. So this is kind of a mirrored setup for everybody except for MacKinnon, and then just some weirdness with Compher and Toews switching. Not that unusual. You see MacKinnon and Rantanen go up here. They just don't do it with Compher very much. They're working the MacKinnon side here. Eventually Mikko sneaks in behind. He's able to drag Pittsburgh's defense down in deep before the Avs are able to quickly snap it up and around over to Devon Toews, who gets the one-timer to go 5-hole. Pretty clear Bednar was looking for something at that point, shuffling the lines, giving a different power play look. It's obvious. Bednar knows the Avs weren't going. It wasn't clicking, so he was able to find something on the power play at least. That's something to put in your back pocket. Maybe something to remember in an important situation down the line. Unfortunately, the Avs quickly give that goal back at 5-on-5 as well. Look, if the Avs' biggest fear is Jeff Carter, they should be just fine for the playoffs. Pittsburgh working in zone here. The Avs doing a reasonably okay job of coverage up to this point, but that it's worked out high. You have a little bit of space given by Galchenyuk here. That really isn't that big of a deal. The problem is Eller just gets beat off the backside of this play. You have an open man in front, and it's a nice float pass that lands perfectly for Carter, who's able to tap it in. You got beat tonight. Your best players weren't good enough, your worst players weren't good enough, and that's a quick recipe for a loss. It's not too complicated. The empty netter at the end of the game, Bednar tries to pull his goalie with 5 minutes left. The Avs actually survive the majority of it, but don't generate a ton. Gets to 5-2 with about 17 seconds left. That's when it finally cracks for Colorado. Didn't love the game. Didn't love how the Avs played, but they just spent the last 6 games proving they can play a whole lot better than they did in this one. So, on to the next one. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to thednvr.com for all of our coverage. I am Rudo, and just have bad ones sometimes.